Greetings, Internet. It's Alex and Lewie from Barefaced, and we're on the other sides of the bed, so I'm a bit confused.
Woke up grumpy.
We've got a big cab made by Larshall.
Yeah, I got that.
Courtesy of Brighton Electric. We've got Lewie's Fuchs Blackjack. Oh, it's a 21 Mark II. I thought it said 2 Mark II. And this has got 4 G12T75s in, which is quite common in Marshalls. And this has 1 G12T75. And this is it's one of these. That's the back of it. That's the front of it. There's some corners rolling around. But essentially, it's the AVD cab. So it's not a closed cab. It's not a ported cab. It's not an open cab. It's got this AVD thing at the back. We've got a patent on it. It does magic things, but magic using science.
Yeah.
And we're going to A-B between the two of them, so we'll run through a bunch of tones. Should we just stick with the Telecaster?
I think so.
Yeah.
It can do a lot
It's a
of things.
guitar.
Yeah. It's not about the guitar, it's about the cabs.
So I've got the switching box down here, and also I've got another mic that I'll wander around with. So mostly we're going through the JM47, so that's a U47 large diaphragm copy, and it's about 6 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
We've not done these head-to-head before, but we just checked the levels.
It's a bit surprising.
It's 4. So the impedances are right, you know, it's 16 ohm, 16 ohm.
Yeah. So it should. This one should be.
Well, you've got.
So much louder.
Well, yeah, you've got 4 speakers.
Mm-hmm.
So each time you double the number of speakers,
Yeah.
you gain 3 dB through acoustic coupling. So that's 6 dB.
So that should be 6 dB louder.
Yeah, not broadband, but 6 dB
Yeah.
in the kind of lower half of the frequency spectrum. The guitar goes pretty low.
Yeah.
You know, we're not just talking. You just gain it in the bass. It's just a bigger sound.
Should we see?
But that's a closed cab. This is an AVD cab. So we'll start on the Marshall. I guess you guys can hear that. I hope you guys can hear that.
I can hear it. It's so much. I don't understand why it's louder. I've always known these things are clearer. The AVD thing means essentially omnidirectional, right?
Yeah,
is that a fair word to use?
It's quasi-omnidirectional. Essentially, a guitar speaker is a deeply flawed device.
That's the
G1265 heritage, which is actually rather like a G12T75.
Yeah.
So you've got a big cone, got a big dust cap. It flexes a bit, but it's basically the dispersion of any sound source narrows, any wave source actually, as the source gets smaller, as the wavelength gets smaller relative to the size of the source. That's why space telescopes, you know, get wider, optical ones, and also radio telescopes. They get bigger to be more directional, to see further.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But this is trying to do full range. That's one of the reasons why tweeters are smaller than woofers.
Okay.
To get the dispersion.
Yeah.
But you can't put guitar through a tweeter or a mid-range driver and expect it to sound good.
No.
Unless you're doing a load of digital stuff to kind of, or clever analog modelling to kind of fake
Yeah.
the behaviour of a large speaker. But with the AVD, we're taking the output from the back, because there's the front, yeah? There's the back. You can see the cone has 2 sides. There's these big holes in the frame. So the sound comes off the back. It goes through that slot, which diffracts the sound, and then out through this sort of horn arrangement. I shouldn't have left those bits in there. Out through that horn arrangement, and out into the room, and rooms they echo.
Yeah.
And much of what we hear, sound-wise, is reflected sound, not direct sound.
Yeah.
So.
And there's am I right in thinking there's some cancellation and mix-ups going on in this, hence the kind of line array system that we use.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
that's not
quite right.
happening here, is it?
Yeah, so the 412, it's worse than the dispersion of 112 because you put them side by side, so essentially they're a bigger wave source. But the wavelengths they deal with They cancel to a degree, so where you've got different path lengths, so where one's further from you than the other, but then when you're more on axis, it's just a narrower beam as well.
Which is why it can be really bright when you're dead on it.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
'Cause we
Which
went
is
through
why
this-
I have this mic here, so we'll go around with this.
So we went through that last time, didn't we? We were having a little look at this about months and months and months back, and I found out online, I think from that pedal show, that people used to put one driver out of phase. Do you remember we went through that?
Yes.
And that was apparently a classic hack that people do with Marshall 412s, and I guess that would then
That would
offset
help.
some of that problem.
And the other thing would, because if you put one out of phase, that means two are out of phase.
Yeah, because of the way they're linked.
Yes, and the other thing people do is the X configuration. So instead of having 4 matching drivers, you have 2 different sorts, but you put them in an X. So
Okay,
they're going to have differences in response and phase themselves. So then that reduces. It means you don't get them combining, so they don't cancel each other.
So you have to
where
do
they're
it.
not combining.
People are doing work to try and get around
Yeah, a
this
lot
design
of
that's
412 bodgery.
Should we go a bit louder? Or do you
Dirtier.
want to...
I think
Yeah.
dirt, because dirt's going to show more because you'll get more harmonics and more mids, more highs. It's just going to show a bigger picture.
Are you going to wander around?
I will. I'll do this mic for now,
Yeah.
and then I'll wander around with the other mic. So we're on the Marshall.
Yeah.
From where I am,
Yeah.
and I know I'm standing this side,
Yeah.
that sounds so much fatter
It's
and thicker. The Reformer is thicker and fatter and clearer.
definitely clearer. Yeah, that's the thing that comes across when I'm here. So around that's the thing that comes across to me. There's just more clarity in what I'm trying to hit and what I'm getting back from the cab, I guess.
That's crazy. I know we designed these. We've been selling them for like 5 or 6 years, but
We've just never done the AB. Never done the thing.
so this also acts like a speaker port, a Helmholtz resonator at lower frequencies. So the back of the driver, the output from it doesn't cancel out the output from the front of the driver, which is what would happen in an open back cab, which is why closed back cabs sound fatter than open back cabs, because the lows cancel in an open back cabs. Well, this acts as a Helmholtz resonator, so instead of it containing the lows from the back of the driver, it essentially gets them to reinforce the lows from the front of the driver, which is what happens in all ported cabs, which proliferate across PA and bass and
Great word.
hi-fi, or just everything nowadays seems to have ports in. Or if they don't, they're using often digital correction and more amp power to deal with it, which isn't a great idea with guitar stuff because we don't have a lot of amp power.
Not really.
Especially with valves. Dirtier? Heavier?
Let's keep going, eh?
Him again, having his maggot brain moment or whatever it was. Cloudy.
Right. What is?
The Marshall.
Okay, that's a.
I think that's a good word.
I've never heard that used for guitar
Foggy.
tone, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, veiled.
Sure.
That sounds a bit hi-fi pretentious.
It
Audio
really
fool.
does. But that's just clarity is the word that comes to mind every time.
But it's never harshness.
No,
it's
no.
just you just feel like you're actually hearing. It feels like you're closer to the speaker.
I was going to say something. You're hearing the driver. This isn't harsh because of the driver we've got in it. If you put a V30 or something that was a bit harsher in it, you'd be hearing that. But you'd be hearing the same if that had
It's
it
letting
as well.
the driver speak more.
So you pick your right driver that you like, and that's exactly what you're going to get wherever you stood, right?
This big box, it's not letting the driver do what the driver really wants to do.
Right.
Because although it's a big box, it's actually not that big for the four speakers that are stuck in there. So it's quite a small closed box. And that pushes up the cue, and that messes with the transient response, and you get this slight boominess.
That's a really good description. That it's a big
And I don't
box,
think they're
but-
that, even though they're heavy, I don't think they're that well braced. They're that stiff. When we had the back off before, there's just one brace going front to back, and it's quite large panels. I think they resonate a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the interactions between the drivers cloud things.
You're right. That's a much bigger box for the size of driver in it, right? There's a lot more other space to let.
I suppose it is, and it's not as box shaped.
No, they're not square, are they?
No, and it's the angle's cut in of the
Of
AVD.
course. Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're standing waves across it, because obviously this has got the standing wave that way,
Yeah.
and that's the same dimension that way. So you've got a standing wave at quite an unfortunate wavelength.
Right.
That's going to be a few hundred hertz. What's the standing waves are going to be higher there, but then they're going to be broken by the fact the angled panels
You got the AVD.
of this are in the way. Driver's poking in to about here, and then the AVD's poking the rest of the way, so you don't actually have really much cuboidness going on. You've got top to bottom, but you've got left and right, and it's really been broken up.
Yeah. Smart.
Oh.
It's all in the science.
Yeah. I mean, it took, 60 years for someone to apply some science to a guitar cab properly, but we've done it!
We've got there. Great.
It works. I was saying we should do a video, and we will do a video, where I'm going to say the next guitar you buy should be a barefaced AVD cab, because you'll actually hear all the guitars you own properly. And we should do some demos to see if you can tell the difference miles better with one of those
When you change guitars.
when you change guitar.
Oh, there's some fun there, isn't there?
Because there's a lot of guitars out there in guitar shops that cost about the same as one of these, or more.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
But everyone thinks these are expensive. And they aren't cheap.
Yeah, that's a culture thing, isn't it? What guitarists think is important versus
But
what
these are
actually
expensive, these are expensive.
But
everyone thinks this bit should be cheap, and this is the only bit that makes any noise.
it's the final result.
Yeah, it's what you hear. Can we do some heavy rhythmy stuff?
I can hear the tone in that.
One thing I just want to do, just play again, and I just want to see how many decibels we're at, roughly, in here.
With each.
Well, just one of them, because I just want a reference point of how much power we're using. So it's not quite in it, it's about 115.
That's loud.
Yeah.
That's like actually just loud.
And I know this is just an app on my phone, but we do have a proper dB meter in here, and I've AB'd between them, and they're really quite close.
Oh, are they cool?
Yeah, they are. So what that says is we are playing reasonably loud.
This is proper levels, yeah.
Yeah, so if this 115 dB, it's a 97 dB speaker, so 107 dB would be 10 watts. We're obviously gaining quite a lot from the room, but basically we're pushing that amp pretty hard.
I never have this amp this loud to gig. This is going for it, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's good, because one element I think that's maybe in the Reformer's favour is that pushing the driver a bit harder, and the driver sounding better, because it's getting more richness, it's got more harmonic distortion going on.
Oh yeah, you get so much more from that. That was I think the latest pedal show video that came out that we're talking about. It's like guitarists should be allowed again to turn up, because the only reason I don't gig with it at this level is because everyone tells me to shut up. But like, it's not ridiculously loud, but it'd be nice to. But it's kind of, because everyone's in digital modelling world now, everyone wants to play quietly, and you get so much more when you hit a cab like that and a driver like that with that. It's a different world, and it's so much better.
Gigs are performances. Gigs are people making music together, and you've got to feel it.
Yeah, the feeling.
You've got to feel it, and I don't just mean the physical feeling of the air hitting you. I just mean the actual emotional feeling, and I do think we don't want to lose that. We aren't pressing play on a CD player or whatever people use nowadays. We are creating the music in the moment.
Can't do it quietly.
Oh, and that does it better.
Simply.
But tell us what you think. Yeah, stop buying guitars and pedals and buy these, because
it's true.
You'll hear everything you already own a mile better.
Yeah.
And we'll be back. Like and subscribe. I meant to say that.
Oh yeah, please do.
Sorry if I keep doing this, but the camera's the other way around, and I'm a bit confused by the screen. But we're Alex and Lewie. That's us, yeah.
We are.
From Barefaced, and we'll be back with more excellence.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.